Hello everybody, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator once again. Today a very special video. We're going to be doing a heli tour of Skinwalker Ranch and we'll talk about what that is. There was a person named Lensman that made a scenery on flightsim.to. Everything I'm using today will be linked in the description below. Huge thanks to Thrustmaster for sponsoring this video's hand cam so you can see what I'm using. We'll talk about that on the flight out. It's only like a 5-minute flight out to Skinwalker Ranch today. Not very long at all. Using a freeware helicopter. This is the H-135 by High Performance Group. I know they have a payware version of this helicopter. It's the 145. We're flying the 135 based on the 130 that is used in the show that we've seen on History Channel. If you haven't seen it yet, we'll talk about that as well. We are on the ground in Roosevelt, Utah right now, and we're gonna head up into the helicopter and get acquainted with it as things have changed since the last time we've flown it. And here we are in the cockpit of November 905 Bravo Charlie, and it is much cleaner than the last time we saw it, and functional as well. So we'll come up here, turn the battery master switch on. There we go, it's initializing the system there. And we can also turn our avionics on, all this stuff. We're not gonna be doing things by the book 100% today, but just going with that. And then also in the fuel pumps, we need to have our primers on here. So primers come on for engine start. The other one will be for flight. So we'll turn those on as well. Everything's good there. We got the beacon light on, landing light. We'll get that in a minute. We need to do a full collective test. That's good. I'm using Thrustmaster TCA Boeing yoke. Not the yoke, but the actual throttle quadrant from that whole setup. And then the Thrustmaster Warthog stick today and TPRs by Thrustmaster as well. So we can see everything's working as it should be. They're happy with it. We are too. Engine start here, not too difficult. Come down here. We need to make sure all the auto flight systems are on. By default, they're usually set to off like this. So from my last flight I had in it, I forgot to turn those off. So that's the reason why those are good. We're not going to be worrying about any GPS today. We're just going to be doing pilotage, so no big deal. And we're going to look down here and we can see everything's good to go. So we just go here to engine 1, go to idle. Just got to click it. There we go. Starter's on now. And we'll wait for this thing to come alive. The helicopter sounds have been much improved since the last time we saw things here. And we're just watching our instruments, making sure we're going to get a good start here. Beautiful day in the Utah Basin. Perfect time to go talk about some cool things. If you're not familiar with Skinwalker Ranch, well, we're going to talk about it and maybe open your eyes to something you didn't know. Now, as far as Skinwalker Ranch goes, I see we have idle right there on that. That's what we want to see. Next, we're going to go over to idle as well, starting that engine. When they're in idle mode, we're then going to flip those switches into flight mode. Now, you see down here we have the NR high mode there. That's for high performance, which we might use since we're 5,000 feet in the air. It could be a little sluggish because the elevation is so high. So engine 2 is starting now. And it's almost up and running here. Wonderful. There's idle right there. So when you flip this thing up into flight mode, it should do both of them like that. And now we are good. If you look down here, they want the primer pump, all that stuff's on. So let's go turn it off. We have those two outer ones that we want, and then pitot heat. Those are good. Landing light, put that on. And we'll turn the strobe light on as well. Now we're ready for flight, so let's do this thing. Got to be real easy on your collective. And we get light on the skids, and we're going to be adding left anti-torque pedal. Helicopters are a whole new animal when it comes to flying, and this thing is no joke. I have it on advanced flight mode, which if you're usually in the co-pilot flying this helicopter, but when I see this, the pilot that flies in and out of Skinwalker Ranch, he's always sitting in the left seat, so that's what we're doing today. But you have that over there on the right-hand side that you've seen in previous videos. We've flown the 135. So bring it up ever so slightly. You got to be real patient with it. Watching our torque climb, 43 there. You want to just get light on the skids, and you'll know when it happens because you're going to see it rocking around on us a little bit like that. Or light on the skids. I'm adding my left anti-torque pedal. Looking ahead. A little bit more power here. And she'll just lift right off the ground just like that. There we go. A lot of left Anti-torque pedal, there we go. And we're gonna do a hover taxi over to the runway. We only have like a 5-knot headwind from the left right now, so not a problem at all. We're gonna take off to the east, as that's where we want to go for the ranch. Don't mind me, buddy. We're just doing a hover taxi. I want to get too fast here. And I'm not in the high performance mode right now, so we'll flip that on once we get flying. I want to show you the difference between performance when you don't have that on compared to when you do have it on at a high elevation airport like this. So here we go, over to the right, onto this taxiway. Like I said, we're gonna be taking off to the east. Looking good here. This thing is so much fun to fly. But I wanted to do all freeware today so you could see it. No payware. What I have, you can have as well. So you see all that left anti-torque I have now. Once we get into flight here, we're gonna be taking that out. You're gonna see the nose start dotting to the left. There's 74. Pull it back a little bit. There we go. About 60, 68. On the torque there, it's getting better as we increase speed. There we go. And I can bring out my left pedal ever so slightly. And now we are headed in the right direction, and I don't have to use so much of my left leg. So Skinwalker Ranch is a very, very interesting place. There's a lot of history involved with it. Now, I personally love good conspiracy theories. I'm into paranormal stuff. I'm into, UAPs, UFOs, what they used to be called. All sorts of that stuff. I've always been a huge fan of, and I find it interesting. So, Skinwalker Ranch was one of those things that actually got my attention with the Blue Planet project. Or sorry, was it Project Blue Book? That's what it's called. There's two different things out there, but yeah. So that's what opened my eyes up to Skinwalker Ranch. And if you want to know a little bit about the Skinwalker lore, it's basically the Navajo tribes and the whole Yinta area here. They had some curses and blah 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 blah. I don't fall into that at all. I don't really don't buy into it, I'll say. Let me go ahead and pull this back a little bit. We'll go into high mode here. There we go. Oh. You want to do it? It doesn't seem like it wants to go into that high mode, which is fine by me. Not a huge deal. I don't really fall into that category, but watching Skinwalker Ranch, the secret of Skinwalker Ranch, they're applying the scientific method and all sorts of cool experiments to find out what's really going on out here. As back in the day, the Shermans owned the property, and they had a bunch of different cattle mutilations, orbs of light, all sorts of crazy stuff that happened. Sightings of dire wolves, really crazy, cool stuff. And over time, they left and they never came back. And then a guy by Bigelow was his name, purchased the ranch, and he had a bunch of guys get together. They were called Bass. There's Nids and there's Bass, but Bass was the one at the time because of Bigelow Airspace. And they did a bunch of experiments there. And you're going to see things like dog runs, which we're going to talk about those a little bit. And so I think we basically just followed this highway and this creek out. I can already see the ranch off to our 11 o'clock right now. Like I said, it's not a very long flight over to it today. And anywho, once they were done with everything they did there, they just kind of hightailed it out of there, and everything was top secret. They didn't release any of the information out to anybody or the experiments that they conducted. Now, later came Fugel. He bought the ranch, and he's the one who got a hold of some people, executive producers and stuff from the History Channel that were on Ancient Aliens and some other shows, and they got Travis Taylor to come out and meet their group of guys that are their security guys there And they created the show, which is called The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch on History Channel. They're at season 3 right now. So I was really excited about finding a show like that. Here's the ranch right here on our left-hand side. We're just showing up to it now. And we're going to circle around it and talk about it. I was excited to see it because I had read about it in books and all that stuff. So to see it go kind of mainstream is pretty darn cool. We'll start our left-hand turn here. So what's interesting about this place is they've had a lot. There's the helipad down there. And you can see there's the dirt road there, and they have a gate that says to keep out. It's under surveillance, all that stuff. And we're going to be coming over Skinwalker Ridge right now. And basically the Skinwalker was a ancient mythical kind of thing where they kind of like were like, hey, it's demons or it's whatever, but basically it was like a dire wolf slash kind of some sort of entity. And very interesting stuff, but there's been some sightings of that, but nothing of recent, that's for certain. But they have these dog runs out here. And we're gonna fly around it again here, real slow. Pull my power back a little bit here. And they had dogs in there as biosensors. And they have cattle on the ranch too as biosensors so that they can tell, you know, if something is abnormally in the area. Because UAP phenomena seem to show up with these spikes of different EMF detection, radiation, you name it. Crazy stuff, gamma rays. And these scientists that are there right now, and they're still filming, they have been doing all sorts of different experiments to try to figure out what's really going on here, instead of just being like, oh, you know, it's all, who knows? So, very interesting stuff. Now, this is Skinwalker Ridge right here. We're coming over again. And this place in particular is called the Triangle. You'll see it up here on the left-hand side. Now, they've done some experiments there, and they've even done some ground-penetrating radar. There's the dog run right over there. And found that there's an anomaly underneath the ground there. So there you can see there's a truck there and some people outside right there doing their little experiment. But that little area right there, the triangle, is pretty interesting. Now, they do have a UAP right here. You can see it right over these cows. Kind of funny how he put those in there. And the author originally had a big, huge UFO with a green alien in it. And I was like, I wish I had a version that didn't have it. So it was a little more realistic. Well, I mean, not that it's not realistic, just that it was a little kind of cartoony looking. And they made a version without it. So very cool of them to do that. There's another dog run right there. So there's 2 of them. One back there and there's one up here. So we're coming up on Homestead 2. I'm going to release my left anti-torque pedal here for that turn. Slow it up a little bit. And Homestead 2 is home to a bunch of paranormal activity and whatever you want to call it. I don't really go with paranormal. I think it's just something that can't be explained for the most part. So we're coming up on it now. You should see the buildings. It's all down here by these trees. We'll spin around again because we're almost down here to the other homestead. I might have missed it actually. So let's turn around here and I'll show you that. And they've done some experiments out there and have found that, like, that has been very strange. There's been radiation spikes. Even one of the scientists got radiation burns at one point, and so did the cameraman out there for History Channel. It's right up here on the left. I'm going to circle over it so you can see it. So this group of trees is right here on our left. And you'll see the building. I'm going to add a little bit more power here. Get into our left turn here. So this is Homestead 2. Right off our nose, actually. I think I was a little off there. Yeah. But, yeah, so that happened. And what's interesting about the radiation burns that Travis Taylor had was that they were all in, like, a line, meaning, like, it was like a beam. So, like, his burns were, like, on his head and his elbow and all that stuff. It drew a straight line. It's right here on the left. There's those buildings down there. That's Homestead, too. And the cameraman actually got hit as well and had a radiation burn. So they don't know where it came from. They have these things, these dosimeters that, like, are measuring all of their conditions and all that. And they were going off like crazy, huge radiation spikes just out of nowhere. and they weren't sure what that was all about. So there's the homestead right down there. It's also a very haunted place, so a lot of people believe it's haunted, and they've actually done some things to try to trigger any kind of response from that homestead right there, and they've been pretty successful at that. They've seen temperature drops like 20, 30 degrees in that building right there, right in front of it, that broken down wooden one. So pretty cool that this is here in the flight sim. And that's something that's really cool about Microsoft Flight Simulator, is that you can go to real places and see it for yourself that you maybe wouldn't want to do in real life. I mean, I can't even imagine being here in the real world. It's got to be a pretty interesting experience. So we're going to climb up to 10,000 feet. Now, there's a reason for it, and I'm going to talk about it before we do any landings or anything like that. So they triangulated where this whole phenomena is happening over the ranch, and it seems to be exactly 1 mile above the triangle over there. So they've done experiments where they've climbed to 10,000 feet. Now, when they were doing that in the helicopter, we have a radar altimeter, and basically it's always telling us what's underneath us based on a little, like, it's more accurate to know how high off the ground you are because it's bouncing that off. And they were conducting experiments, and they had something 40 feet underneath them, kept tripping it over and over. And the only way that could be done, there was nothing visible there. And the only way that can happen is if you actually have something physically underneath the helicopter. So something was tracking underneath the helicopter by 30, 40 feet. So if you're not into paranormal, you're not into UFO, you're not into UAP, whatever you want to call it these days, I understand. But you might be interested to know that there are actual scientists conducting experiments to find out what's going on out here, instead of just being like, oh, it's just aliens, or it's just this. But I find this so interesting because there's a lot of cool information coming out finally to the public. Having our government actually acknowledging the existence of UAPs, UFOs, and they just had their congressional hearing about it. Pretty interesting stuff. So still climbing. We need to get to 10,000 feet, so we're a mile up, and we'll be where that was located. So very interesting to see that we have another show. Now, the downside, the con I can say about the show itself, is it's overproduced and over-edited. Now, I think there's a lot of interesting data here, and I think it's a really cool thing. But you got to have you got to have money and a budget to get done what you want to get done on a show like this, and they unfortunately fall to the whole History Channel, Discovery Channel style of editing, and I really don't like it. I think that there's something cool here for everyone, but it kind of gets ruined sometimes by that. I'm gonna be going into some yellow band here. I'm gonna try to get some more performance out of this thing. I don't know why our high's not working. It flashes over there and then it goes away. I'm not sure. Let me move that out of the way. Get my mouse pointer out of the way. Now we're descending. We need to be climbing here, buddy. All right, keep climbing here. There's the triangle down there. Cool. You can get a better bird's eye view of the area here as we're flying around it. So, you don't have to be a believer or whatever. I am, but you don't have to be a believer to enjoy what they're doing, because no matter what, it's kind of like what Travis has said. It's not that like it's just it could be something that we don't know as human beings, and the scientific research that we do, we just don't know what it is. We haven't discovered it yet. So I find that interesting as well. All right, we're still climbing here, 7,400. $75, still going up. So they triangulated this. So this thing is producing a frequency. It seems to be attached to a frequency of 1.6 gigahertz. And they were triangulating it by using their spectrometers, all sorts of stuff. And they triangulated it to this position of being 5,000 feet in the air. I'm going to release my left torque pedal. Let's go a little bit wider on our orbit here. Another cool thing is that they did some more experiments. They did it in a Cessna. I go 172. I'm gonna fly the helicopter here, Jeff. There we go. And they flew up here and they dropped, or they did some GPS runs. And then they also did some drops out of this helicopter as well. Man, I really need to have a positive attitude climbing here. I have a positive attitude, don't get me wrong, but not in the helicopter. There we go. I'm trying to get everything I can out of this thing. It's just it's a pig right now. All right, we're cool. And they went back and got the data and found that it was actually smashed down into the mesa down there, which is strange. That's not normal behavior. And they had that happen. That was repeatable, that it was doing that. So something is so strange about this particular area on Earth, but it's also in the Uinta Basin where a lot of this kind of activity seems to be spiked from. All right. I don't know if we're going to make it to 10,000 feet. We're going to try. Here, give me a few moments. We'll get it up to 10,000 feet. At 9,300 feet, getting closer. You can see we got some rain moving in the area here. It's pretty common for this this spot of Utah. Almost to 10. Still trying here. All right, 37 knots, and we are just about here to 10,000 feet. Have a look at that. There we go, right there. We made it. So this is where the anomaly is located, right here. 10,000 feet, 5,000 feet above the ranch. Pretty interesting. And there's the ranch down there. There's the triangle. You see the whole mesa right there. Very cool. And we got a rainbow right off our nose here, too. Very nice. I'm going to start descending or come back down, and we'll land at the ranch. I think old Dragon's going to be out there on the pad. That's funny how they added Dragon out there, which is a character in the show that is a security guard for the ranch, more so than a scientist or anything like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and descend down to about, I don't know, 7,000 feet, 6,000 feet probably, and then we'll do a landing. We'll talk a little bit more there. All right, 6,100 feet. Pulling my power back here. We're going to be turning final for the pad here. We'll see how well we can manage a landing here, because it is quite tricky to land around here at this elevation, because you got to be ready on that collective. Look at this. The sun's coming back out again, even though that rain shower is off to our right. It's already dissipating, which is kind of cool. Got pointed at the triangle here. I'm going to release my left anti-torque and come on down. And you're going to see the cattle down here. And the one off to the right, you'll see they have, in the scenery package, a cow on its side with two scientists checking it out. And that is where one of the cattle actually have, they died. And then they documented having a UAP, a black UAP over the area when it happened. And then it shot out of range. So there's the pad right there in front of us, the concrete pad. We're slowing down, 27 knots here. Just using our collective to help us down. You see the cows down there in range. You see the dog run there on the left. And they actually have cattle down here as a biosensor as well. I was talking about the dogs being one in those dog runs, but also the cattle. All right, as we get closer to the ground, bring up that nose. There's Dragon out there. All right, got to start adding a lot of power here as we make this transition. This lower level of flight here. There we go. We were ready for it that time. A little bit more of that. There you go. And left anti-torque. Kind of in a little bit of a hover right here where I want to be. Just kind of ease it forward. This thing gets real sensitive right around this part here. All right, cool. We will land right on this concrete pad. Got a good descent right here, looking good. Looking straight out towards those trees. Running a nice trajectory here. There's Dragon. We'll have you down on the ground here in a second. And then Dragon can take care of y'all. And we'll do some cool drone shots while we're here at the ranch. Ooh, back it up. We're down. Just like that. All right, welcome to Skinwalker Ranch. Let Dragon go ahead and take care of you guys, and we're gonna go fly the drone around. Well, I sure hope you guys enjoyed today's tour. We're going to head back to Roosevelt now. Landing lights on. Bring up our collective a little bit here. Say goodbye to Dragon, everybody. Bye, Dragon. And we're going to get on out of here. And in the show, they love to use the fake helicopter sound over and over again, especially when they depart out of here. It's like... And it sounds nothing like the actual 130 that they are flying. Let's keep that nose down a little bit here. A little bit more. Get on light on the skids. We'll take you back to Roosevelt so you can get out of here. You got a weird feeling. Don't worry, it happens to everybody apparently that comes here. All right, a little bit more power. A little bit more, just ever so slightly here. There it is, light on the skids, left anti-torque pedal. I can't wait till we get helicopters in the sim. It's coming soon, the next update, the next sim update. There we go. When you get into a hover here, add our power. There we go. Looking forward. More power here. That 68's looking good right there. Yeah, that's why I wish we had a little bit more performance out of this thing, because it is a little crazy. All right, let's get left on the anti-torque. I can get the yellow band, I don't care. There's the Skinwalker Ranch gates there. Left turn out over this way. There we go. You can see the moo-moos down there. Goodbye, moo-moos. Goodbye, everybody. There's the UAP. Fly around that thing. Right turn for our departure. We'll follow the creek on out of here. You can say goodbye to the ranch. Very cool that we can visit such places here in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I must say. And you got to do it in a helicopter. With a helipad there, you know. We're still in the yellow right now. That's fine with me. I'll go ahead and make a right-hand turn. We'll do a little bit lower flying on the way back. So let's pull this back into... There we go. Into that arc right there. That's fine with me. So yeah, whether or not you believe in paranormal, UAP, UFO, alien, whatever you want to call it, still a really interesting place. That was a point of interest I wanted to go over with y'all. And really cool that we have a scenery from Lensman that allowed us to do that. So a huge thanks to Lensman for that. And go check out the scenery. It does add a little point of interest to your map, and on your GPS it'll be located on there. So if you don't feel like getting the lay of the land and flying over it, you can always use your GPS. And you can't miss Roosevelt, because when we come over this ridge here, you're going to see it out in the distance, that white flashing and green indicating the airport light. Green, white. A lot of reservoirs out here. That was Bottleneck, what's a Bottleneck? Bottle something. Reservoir we passed on the way out there too, on the right. But a lot of neat stuff happening there. You know, besides the, you know, don't just watch the History Channel show. And I think you should. I think everybody should watch it, because it's cool to see actual scientific experiments being done. Maybe not in the way some others would like it done and all that stuff. There's a lot of haters in anything that anybody ever does. But, you know, if it's not your cup of tea to watch an edited show on History Channel, then, you know, by all means, do some research online and learn about it. Read the tales. There's a lot of eyewitnesses A lot of different stories from that place. It's just really interesting. It's almost got that lore of like Area 51, honestly. And I'm glad it's getting notoriety because it's still something that's unexplained, you know? At night, that mesa will glow. You'll see beams of light shoot out of it. They did some laser tests where they would shoot the lasers at the rock and it would reflect. They also shot lasers up into the sky at that phenomenon where that was coming from, that, mile up. And they found that when they shot a laser at it, it would bend the light. So there's something interesting happening there. And I told you about the ground penetrating radar finding what looked like these kind of like dome structures underneath the ground there. So there are, rumors of a base and underground base, there's rumors for everything out there. But that one in particular has always piqued my interest. So I'm glad we were able to fly to it here in the sim today. And what a beautiful day it was for it. We had that little rain shower pop up. We're using real time, real world weather. Pretty darn cool. All right, let's make our left turn here. We are on our final approach. That wind's still right out of the left there at 4 knots. It's going to be a non-issue. I'm going to go ahead and pull my power back here, get this nose up so we can start our final approach onto the ramp here. Let me know what you thought of the flight in the comments below, the video itself. Also, let me know what you think of Skinwalker Ranch. You believe it? You don't? Whatever. Let us know in the comments below. I love reading everybody's responses to all that stuff. All right, bring this back a little bit more. And if you haven't checked out the show, you can, if you're not really, you know what, honestly, you could go on YouTube on History's channel and they have like 5-minute segments, 10-minute whatever, with little highlights. Start there, and see if it piques your interest, because then you don't have to deal with the editing and the constant like, hey, if you forgot, this is what happened last time. It's like, yeah, we know what happened last time. We know. There we go, a little bit more power here. All right, Cougar, some more power. A little more power. Don't want to smack into the ramp here. I'm getting better with this helicopter, though, I'll tell you that. There we go, a little bit more. Drop it down. A little more this way. And laying on the skids right here. There we go. Hey, and look at that. They're happy with it, too. All right, pull this back. Shutting things down, not too difficult. We're going to go ahead and go lane light off. And then we can go, these guys come off. Everything is good there. We turn our avionics off. Wherever they are, over here. Yep, there they go. And then to kill the engines, you just bring these down into the off position. There's the right engine. And then the left engine as well. And listen to these sounds. Made it back on the ground safely in Roosevelt. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.